2023 was a busy year for me on Poshmark. Everybody, my name is Anita, and I'm going to go over some part-time reseller numbers. And this is based on my personal closet and Poshmark. And I want to let you know that everything that I go over today is going to be different for me than it will be for other resellers, just because there are things that sold well for me that might not sell well for other resellers. I want to apologize about, first of all, I'm having camera issues. So I'm actually recording this directly on my MacBook, and this is my basement. So I'm sorry you have to look at that right now. I'm going to be going over some brands that they brought in the most money for 2023. So I have some notes here for myself. So if I look down at all, it's just me and my poor short-term memory going over some things in my notes. I'm going to do 10 top name brands for that. Number one of the items that brought in the most money in 2023 is J. Crew. J. Crew is one of my favorite brands to sell, to be honest with you. And it's not just because I have those items in my own personal closet. I find that there is a following for certain items within J. Crew. So things that sell well for me are like merino sweaters or new with tag items that are the newer logo tag. So just so that you're aware, if you look for merino wool J. Crew items, things that I have learned is if it has any bit of pilling in the armpits, I just don't even bother. I work full time and I do this part time. I do not have time for projects. And so I just avoid getting those particular items if they have any kind of work that I have to use a defuzzer or whatever. But if they are in great or excellent condition, I will get them. And what's interesting about the merino wool items is that it doesn't seem to matter if it's a little older, like if it's not within the last couple of years, if it's 5 or 6 years old, they still sell as long as they're more current styles or classic styles. Number two is Free People. Free People is, this is actually Free People right here. I love selling Free People. I would caution you, if you are going to go about selling Free People, things that I have learned is if it is an oversaturated item, it's going to sit just like other brands. But with Free People, not only would it sit, it might not sell at all. So I have learned that the hard way. The other thing is, if it's an older style, I have about 4 or 5 items that are not necessarily the most recent style in Free People. They're really cute, but people aren't looking for that. They're looking for the newer things. I don't find things new with tag very often. Very rarely do I find those things. However, I have found some really, really cute sweaters, dresses, things like that. They sell for me for an average of around $30. And so that's pretty decent. I personally would not spend a whole heck of a lot. If I was to get them, I might spend $6 or $7 at the most, depending on what it is. However, if it were one of the high demand dresses, I'll see if I can pop up a picture of the one. I'm actually looking for one for myself. I saw a YouTuber wearing one and it was gorgeous, and I want one, and they're selling for like $100. So if I was to find one like that, I would pay up maybe. So the next one is Farm Rio. Again, a brand I love. I do not have anything Farm Rio in my personal closet, but the things that I have sold have been absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love selling them. It's a brand that, for me, I really look for something that I don't have to spend a whole lot on. I will pay up for it because it does, if it's a unique style or if it's not oversaturated, it will sell well. So I look for mostly like midi and maxi dresses is what I look for. Next is Eileen Fisher. I love Eileen Fisher. It is, if I get the right pieces, they're pretty much guaranteed to sell within a short period of time. So what I mean by that is if I list it on Poshmark, it'll sell within like a month or two, typically. I am trying out a career sleeveless blouse right now, which is sitting, so we'll see. I don't know if I will get any more of those, but things that are wool, cashmere, wool and cashmere blends, linen. There are organic linen things, and one thing you should note is it doesn't seem, for me at least, it doesn't seem to matter if it's a tiny flaw, it will still sell. So an average of like 40 to $50 is what I typically get for those items. The next one is a tried and true brand for me, and that's Talbot's. Talbot's is a quirky brand, and what I mean by that is that they have a lot of novelty prints and the bigger sizes, medium and up. Typically, the ones that sell the best for me are large and plus sizes, which I think holds true for a lot of brands, but especially for Talbot's. And the petites sell really well for me. I've sold a number of petites from Talbot's. So they have prints like elephants, penguins, apples, all kinds of quirky stuff. They have beautiful blazers that are linen and wool, silk dresses. All of those things have sold really well for me. So I would say an average price of sale is about $28. And that's because I've sold some silk dresses and things like that. If I had not sold silk dresses or linen blazers, it might be closer to like 23, 24. The next one is Ellie Tahari. And this is a very classy brand. It sits for a little while. It's not one that sells super quick. I would say it's an average sale price for me of about $35 to $40. The next is, and this doesn't surprise me, Abercrombie and Fitch. They had a resurgence on Poshmark. I feel like within the last year, year and a half, their flare jeans, their boot cut jeans, certain skirts, certain dresses, those are really what people are looking for also, which I have not found, which I'm hoping my next trip to the bins I will find is some vintage shorts or some vintage dresses, that things that I don't necessarily get unless I can bundle them for super cheap would be shorts. They individually do not sell for high. Right. The next one that sold for a lot of money in 2023 is Coach. And Coach is one of those brands that there are certain things that just do not do well. So I wouldn't necessarily pick up a pair of shoes. They don't do well typically. However, if you find a vintage Coach purse, that's where the game is at with Coach. Vintage Coach purses, especially if the leather is in excellent condition, like it's not been used, or if it's restored, they seem to do very well. And I've sold some and they sell same day or within a week. Next on the list is one of my favorite brands, and that's James Purse. It is a minimalistic brand. So, what I mean by that is they're simple colors, t-shirts, long sleeve tees, short sleeve tees, dresses that are very simple, like tank dresses, short sleeve dresses, things like that. They have regular tank tops, button down linen tops, button down Pima cotton tops. And it's crazy to me what it retails for. And people are looking for that minimalistic, basic way of dressing. So I would definitely not shy away from the section where there are t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, and basic dresses. One thing I won't be getting anymore is tank tops. I just sold a tank, not on Poshmark, but on eBay, and it took almost 2 years for it to sell, and it didn't sell for much. So I will be avoiding those. The next one was a little bit of a surprise for me, which is Banana Republic. And I know some people are not fond of selling brands like Banana Republic. And I actually saw like a blog that said, if you're going to sell on Poshmark, avoid Banana Republic. There are always cases with almost all the brands that I have sold where there are certain items that still do well. And Banana Republic is no exception to that. So things that do well for them, trench coats, cashmere sweaters. I would avoid things like basic blouses. I have a number of those that are just sitting. I would also avoid tanks. I would avoid simple skirts, outdated styles, things like that. I find outdated style Banana Republic so much in the thrift store. Skirts, pants, tops, like super outdated. And maybe there are some people that would be okay with that to go shop for themselves, but to resell, not so much. All right, I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I am looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.